Okay, hopefully everyone can now hear me, and hopefully the rest of the guys can unmute. I'm seeing people can hear me. Excellent. This is what we wanted. Cool. So, thanks for joining us, everyone. This is the first Windblown AMA, where I've been joined by two of the wonderful development team who can hopefully take us through some of the questions that you guys have had for the game. I just want to take us through kind of the format that we'll be looking at today. So it'll last for around an hour. And although we can't answer everyone's questions, we'll do our best to cover kind of the most requested. You're free to ask questions in chat, so please do drop them in there. But we do have some that we want to kind of look at first of all. We'll try and fit some of yours in as well. So I think it'd be pretty good if we kind of introduced ourselves first of all. So you can obviously already hear me. My name's actually Dave, but in the Discord you'll know me as Knight, and on some of the social media videos and community updates, etc. And I'd like to hand off to the other two members of the team who will be helping me out today. Carduus, do you want to start us off?
I think he has no sound.
Oh, I can't hear either of you.
Is it working on my side?
Yeah, first technical difficulties.
Knight, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Bidju.
Ah, great. So we can hear you too. So only Knight is missing now. May you introduce yourself, Thomas?
So I'm Thomas. My nickname is Carduus. You may have seen me in the chat sometimes. I'm a game artist at Motion Twin, and yeah, I worked a lot on Dead Cells and Windblown. And sorry for that.
All right. So as I was trying to say earlier, so I'm Yannick Berthier. I joined the Motion Twin team on Windblown. So after Dead Cells, it's been a few years. I worked on that, mostly on design and some programming too. And we are really glad to have you all.
I have fixed it.
Oh,
I have
you can
fixed
hear
it.
us.
I am
It
back. It works. I just had to change my output off and then back on. Don't you just love Discord?
So we just introduced ourselves.
Excellent. Perfect. This is going completely as we planned then. Right, well, thank you for waiting, guys. Really appreciate that. We'll pretend I am a pro streamer. This is what I do all the time. So, this is our first time hosting something like this in Discord, and this is literally what I had written down on like a little bit of notes. Please excuse any bugs or gremlins that might appear. And I think we found a couple already. So, without further ado, hopefully you can still hear me. Hopefully I can still hear the guys. We will jump into a run or two. You can see how incredibly bad I am at Windblown, because I've seen a lot of people posting their builds and their runs and their difficulties, and it's quite impressive, to be honest, compared to where I'm up to. So it's going to be a mediocre attempt. So let's have a look. Hopefully I can still hear you guys. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Excellent, cool. So we'll dive into a first question while I dive into a run. So one of the first ones we've got here was when you were first designing Windblown, was the dash mechanic already something you had set your mind on, or did it come later as a result of tinkering?
That's for you, Bidju.
Yeah, it's for me. So actually, it's the first thing I worked on when I joined. And like a lot of decisions we made, it was based on frustration, based on what we had. So no, 4 years ago, there was no dash like that in the game. But I think it's one of the, maybe the first feature that pushed us really towards the fast-paced stuff. Originally, the project wasn't really about making something that fast-paced, from what I understood. Right, Carduus?
Yes, right.
That was a really, really short answer, like straight to the point.
Correct, yes.
I did not listen.
Brilliant. Okay, cool. Well,
I was reading the chat because there's a lot of things here.
Yeah, chat, stop distracting us. That's not what we're here for. No, I'm kidding. Awesome. Okay, that's great to know. And I guess that kind of leads us quite happily onto kind of one of the second questions, which was what were the main inspirations for Windblown? Obviously, we know kind of the past of Dead Cells, etc., and like the heritage that you guys have. So, what was it that inspired Windblown?
That's a complicated question because we had a lot of references, even some that are absolutely not relevant for this game. And my first wish for this game was to make a game like Ragnarok Online, you know, a very old school MMORPG. But it is absolutely nothing to do with Windblown today. And maybe after that, yes, just to make a multiplayer game like you are running in instance all days, like in World of Warcraft. So I can say World of Warcraft, but one more time, it has nothing to do with Windblown today.
Amazing. I'm trying desperately to kind of pay attention to chat, pay attention to what you're saying, and pay attention to not getting hit by a golem every time.
It's okay. Focus on the golems. Other inspirations, because there is a lot of inspirations, of course. But for the combat, I think we were really inspired by the Platinum games. So Nier Automata, Bayonetta, that kind of feeling, like combat really based on iframes, or at least it's possible to use that kind of playstyle. We're really inspired by that. On the roguelite side, like the builds and the chaos and the possibility to have like a really OP build, Binding of Isaac was a really strong one too. So yeah, there is a lot. Also on the weapons, we're quite inspired by Monster Hunter. Not saying that we made something similar, not at all, but they have weapons that do have different layer of depth to them. So yeah, that's quite a lot. I think even visually there maybe is some others, but yeah, the list is quite infinite, I would say.
Yeah. There is more obvious references like Fury, a game by Game Bakers, I think. We really love this one, and of course, Hyper Light Drifter. We cannot do this stream without mention this game.
It's like a crazy amalgamation of loads of different kind of games, genres. It's quite an eclectic mix. Kind of one of the questions I had actually, which is sprouted off the back of that. In terms of like art style, how did you land on this kind of an art style? Was this something kind of pre-planned, or was it kind of in the concept stage where you guys decided, no, this makes sense?
The wish to do a game in the clouds is very old, and after that we saw, of course, Zelda came with islands in the sky, so we were a bit disappointed. But this is a good reference visually for Windblown, what they did on Zelda. And yes, I don't know why furries. I don't know. We always liked small animals or weird animals. At the beginning, I really wanted to make only batrachians like frogs and only creatures that goes in the water. But quickly the team asked for more, and so it goes full fury now. Sorry for that.
Perfect.
And yeah, for the colors, it's like Dead Cells, kind of Dead Cells. On Dead Cells, we try to have a very vibrant color palette. So it's like Dead Cells to me, color wise.
Yeah, there are a lot of similarities. You can definitely see that.
And yeah, there is another visual reference for Windblown is a game named Hub. It was made by the guys behind Torchlight, I guess. I'm not sure, but Hub, H-O-B, is a very cool game with a lot of environmental animations, and I really like the small characters.
I'd love how a question comes up just as I get to boss
Yeah,
fight.
focus. It's more important to win the run, right?
That's it. Like I can't look silly. Can't look like I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I think
There
you're
we
doing
go.
fine. Yeah.
Aye, there it is.
GG.
See, now I'm doubting Headbanger. Awesome. Cool. Right. So there's actually a question that came up that I was really interested in myself as well. Someone has asked, they love the mechanic of building up their town, like we'll slowly be doing with the Ark. So what's the vision for how far that progress will go? Do we have any kind of like big plans for the Ark itself and how that might change and adapt as we head towards launch?
So we actually had the intention of allowing you to build the Ark, but we dropped that because otherwise we wouldn't have shipped the game in time. So right
Yeah.
now, the ambitions are way lower there. That said, for sure you will find characters in the Vortex, and you will rescue them so they can join the Ark with you, and that will unlock obviously new possibilities. So that for sure will be a thing. But I would say the town building aspect of it, I don't know. I don't think it's a priority at that current state of the project. Could be cool, but we have a lot of things to make first. Inside the Vortex, in terms of theory crafting, in terms of cooperative gameplay and all. So we are not really focused on that, though we want to push the lore part. If Carduus, you want to talk a bit about
Yes.
that?
I think the things that is important for the hub is not to build it. It's the moment that it creates before you are going into a run, and it's very inspired by Monster Hunter. Sorry, I will
Again.
say this game a lot of time in this stream. Sorry for that. But we really want to make a moment before you are going into a run, like preparing your next run. And this is not implemented yet. And to me, it's a very hard exercise to this stream because I have to not promise anything. This
You're
is
quite
only
bad at that,
ambition,
right?
that maybe we will do another thing. I don't know what we will do exactly right now, but the moment we want to create, I think we will try to do a cool moment before going into a run, like making cooking or things like that. But I cannot promise anything, right?
No, you can't.
No. Promise nothing.
Especially on the Discord, where people are really following the game.
Yes, they see everything. Chat sees absolutely everything.
No.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Let's see, where were we up to? So someone actually asked after that if we had a roadmap. Now we've actually published a roadmap over on the Steam post or Steam's news area. In there, we kind of talk about loosely top level things of kind of what we want from the game and kind of the direction we're going to be taking with it, but it is still quite top line. I don't know if you guys want to kind of just elaborate a little bit on that one.
Well, I will, because Carduus is typing in the chat, so I think he lost focus in what you were saying. Yeah, definitely. The point is that we first, we don't want to promise stuff we cannot do or will not do. So I think the first thing that was the most important was to share our like honest intentions about how we see the game and what we want to do with it. So yeah, for the ones that that want details about those, there is a Steam post that do have all the informations we have right now. Obviously, it's not the most detailed roadmap, or can it be called a roadmap? I'm not sure. I think it's more like overall intentions for the early access. We should have called it somehow.
Yeah, like this is what we'd like to do.
Yeah, we are still in that phase, the first phase we were talking about, where we are gathering feedbacks and we want to address all the core stuff. So that will lead us to the sudden death, I think. It's a really good transition, but we are still in that phase. I mean, the game has entered early access less than 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's like super early. We already got like tons of feedbacks, and we are already working on the, I think, most urgent stuff and most core stuff, the stuff that will really that needs to be done right now and not in 6 months, because it's you have some systems and fixes you have to do early on because you are building the game on it. So if you change it later on, then it can be quite complicated and counterproductive somehow. That said, when we'll have a clearer view, so obviously we have some stuff going on, but right now we are just not communicating on it because it's too early. But as soon as we'll have a more precise picture, especially on the timings, we'll share those, obviously. But yeah, still, we are still in the first phase.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning, like when we were leading towards launch, we were obviously looking, well, roadmaps are almost an expectation. Oh, the star enemies. Almost an expectation for early access games, but it was quite important from like directly from you guys as the dev team that you wanted to prioritize player feedback, game stability, and understand what the players actually wanted first over kind of, well, yeah, here's the overarching plan, but the most important thing is players enjoying themselves right now.
Yep, exactly. That's how we handle the stuff. We just stayed in front of our computers to do free patch in like 5 days, which was quite crazy, to be honest.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, we were like just focused to just make the game better as soon as possible. But yeah, in terms of just to for the people that haven't saw the post, so obviously, and I saw such questions like that. So no, the content you are seeing right now is not the final content in terms of weapons, biomes, monsters. We'll add stuff. We'll add new biomes. We'll add new monsters, new weapons, new trinkets, new gifts, new everything, skins and all. And we have also ideas of customization we could do that are not there. So there will be more for sure. Just when? Well, that will depend on the time it takes to fix the first stuff and set up the core things. We already started talking about the next biome, so yeah, things are
Interesting.
yeah, it's
Yes.
progressing.
Yes, we are still
Excellent.
we are still discussing it in Motion Twin because I think we want to make the next content like biomes and etc. Is more tied to the deep lore and the narration. So we don't know how to tell the story. I know today what I want to tell in the game, but not exactly how. So this is a great discussion to have at Motion Twin before talking about it in the stream.
Yeah.
But for
Yeah.
now, we have some stuff going on for the maybe soon. I cannot tell.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, when we're ready to share some more. Someone did ask a question in the chat, which has now disappeared into the ether, which I think we'll just touch on quickly before moving on to the next of the kind of arranged ones. It's been asked a few times, is there any kind of plan for mod support for the game? I know it's an interesting part of the kind of community, and a lot of people like to do that these days, but is it anything that we have on the horizon? I am assuming not, but worth asking the team.
For what?
Mod support, so modding, changing.
Modding
aspects of the game.
support.
Yeah.
Ooh, complicated.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we'll be able to do it, and if it's the case, I think it would be really far away in a distant galaxy. To be honest, the game is not like mod friendly, like at all. Because it's a multiplayer game, so and it's deterministic, technically speaking. So yeah, it's not an easy one. First, we'll make the game complete, and then we'll see if we can do such a thing. For example, even on Dead Cells, the mode possibilities are quite limited because the game hasn't been built to make that super easy, I would say. So yeah, right now, like nothing planned there. Sorry.
Okay, cool. It's good to know. Cool. So I think one of the final ones before we jump into a bigger topic is there any kind of overarching narrative with the main characters? Are we going to be seeing anything about kind of lore or that development anytime soon?
Yes. Yes, we really want to do that, but it will be not centered on your character, but on the people of the arc. To explain what you are doing here and why you are running into the vortex. So there will be not a story about the axolot or the bat or things like that, but you are a bunch of orphans in the arc, and you want to know more about that.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I don't know if it's very clear.
No, we can be as subtle and as vague as we need to be at this point. There's still, obviously, we're right at the beginning of early access, and there's a long time and a lot to go before we start kind of filling in those gaps, which is fine. Cool. So I think a big question that everyone, or not everyone, but a lot of people in the community have been kind of divided on, which is the sudden death mechanic. For those that aren't aware in the chat, essentially when you're in multiplayer and one of your characters goes down, or let's say you're in a 3-player party and 2 people go down and you're on your own, you enter sudden death, which is where you are left on your own to try and clutch and bring glory to yourself and to the team. But it's a little bit unforgiving at the moment, whereas when you're hit, you go down and that's the end of the run. So the team have heard the feedback. The team have been looking and listening to everything that you guys have been saying. So we did post a bit of an update on Steam to kind of talk about why the system works the way that it does and the kind of the feelings that we want to get from that mechanic. But it's worth kind of saying, well, hey, we've got the opportunity to speak to you guys. So I don't know if you want to kind of elaborate or dive a little bit further into the mechanic.
Yeah, sure. So the sudden death mechanic has been created after a lot of iterations on multiplayer death, mainly. I think we made like a dozen different systems along several months. I think it was back in 2022, 2021, something like that. And we ended choosing that one because it created ties between the players. Like you really had a tension when someone was down. You had to save him. That was that is still the real intention, is to create those bound between those links, those ties between the players, that they do feel like they have to work together and they have to support each other. And we also wanted to avoid having people staying dead for like really long. So in the end, we chose something quite radical, I would say. It's like one hit, you die. And yeah, for us it was quite fine. We knew it was hard, but yeah, definitely I think the feedbacks we got were really right, is that it creates like situations that are like not fun, like just super frustrating right now, especially when you play with people you are having issues communicating with because you don't have voice chat or whatever. So that's why we are doing early access, is to get such feedbacks and such reality check somehow for the game. And yeah, so we are working on that. We want to keep those intentions of the ties between the players, but the goal is not for you to just suffer for the sake of suffering. So we already prototyped something. It's not good yet, from what I heard. Maybe Carduus, you want to jump in because you are working on that one.
Yes, I am on that one. And yes, I think we missed something, and players told us that why are we disconnected from our health bar? I think it's the main problem of the feature right now. And if we can fix that, I think the feature could work very well. And yes, as said, Bidju, is the intention is to make a very epic moment. And the actual feature right now, you can stack all the DPS you want. This is actually the best way to do, because your health bar is deactivated, but your damage are not. So why? And that's the thing we are trying to correct right now. I test some version today, and it begins to be very cool and very merciful, if I can say that. So and the difficulty for us is that some player hate it, but a lot of player also loves it, and we need to find a way to not make this feature disappear. I think it will be renamed, because it is not the same right now. But yeah, we will see how it goes very soon.
Awesome. Yeah, so it's one of those features, guys, where we maybe didn't get it right the first time, but the intention, for this epic kind of climax within a fight was always there. So it's something we'll keep iterating on and see where it takes us. I have to apologize. There are fireworks going off where I live, so if you could hear bangs in the background, that's what that was.
That's great to know.
In case you could hear random explosions. Cool, so we're going to jump into Headbanger. I waited because I didn't want people to watch me absolutely slap this in one shot while also trying to listen to an important topic. So let's see how far I get. I'm not holding out much hope, if I'm honest, guys. I just realized I don't have the sound on, as in the music.
I think you're doing fine.
It's going okay for now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe use the fish.
I think I'm going to have to. Using the fish, caught me off guard then. That's what I need to do.
You have almost 300 people just
Watching
waiting
me.
for your win. No pressure, right?
No, yeah, no, that's fine. Oh,
Oh.
bit early. Oh no.
Ooh. Yeah, you're doing great.
Relying on those iframes, although now he's getting mad. Oh no.
Can do it.
All health in a dream. Yes.
Oh yeah. GG.
We don't want this guy to get away, although we might do.
Yeah, no, for a second.
Never had a doubt for a moment, guys.
I should have trusted
Congratulations.
you.
Oh gosh, right. First, let's go. Let's go assassinate. Awesome.
Really? Not the alter attacks?
No, I'm thinking assassinate. I'm sure that I'll come to regret that pretty soon, but
You feel like a ninja right now.
I do a little bit, yeah. I'm keeping the boomerang fish knife, can heal up luckily. Need to get some more health pots though, because I'm all out.
Onsen is a great place for a new question, maybe.
Absolutely. Cool. So the next question we've got here is someone who's really loving the game so far and looking forward to more content. Could we, at the end of a run, get a stat sheet of how much damage everyone did, what types of damage was done, how much health was taken, etc.? So kind of like a recap of how the run went. Is that anything that we can potentially implement or are looking at implementing?
Yes, we already have a system for that, but it's deactivated because we haven't used it for a few months. But we were using that also for development purpose. I don't know if it will be part of the first update, like real update, because we already have a few like top priority stuff, like the sudden death, for example. That takes quite a lot of people currently because it's a top priority. But yeah, it's definitely something we would like to have a kind of a recap of what happened in the run. Just don't know when we'll add it, but yeah, definitely could be a good one. Just so, by the way, a message regarding on the chat regarding the fact that people get their thumb quite some suffering in the thumb because of the dash 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 dash
Yep.
aspect of the game. Same. So, well, when you progress into the game, you it might address somehow a bit that issue. That said, we will add an accessibility option that will be accessible from the start of the game. We already started those works during last summer in the alpha. We just deactivated that. We also add auto combo feature. It was actually present in the Next Fest demo, but the same, we deactivated it because it was not completed. So both options, we need to finish those and implement those. But yeah, we'll add such things.
Awesome. So let me kill this rat. There we go. Cool. So I think a
No,
question
there is
that...
a cook. There is a
no!
cook. You really need to focus right now.
Damn, chat.
Else you'll die.
I know.
The shield guy, you need to hit him in the back.
Sure do. It's just waiting for him to get tired and then getting behind him. There we are.
Le castor.
Never in doubt.
Nice.
Totally fine.
Right.
Totally planned. Cool. So yeah, a good question that we've had from a few different people actually is, will there be any kind of a collaboration from Dead Cells, and most importantly, will we be getting a frying pan weapon in Windblown?
There is a lot of idea for that. Maybe. I cannot promise anything, like I said earlier. And we had a lot of idea, but the idea behind the pan is not the pan itself. It's the idea to make crazy weapons. We started to make pretty standard weapons to make it contrast with more funny weapons. So yeah, we will think a lot about pan, cocotte, fishing rod, and etc.
There is actually a Dead Cells collaboration on the screen right now.
Right now.
that skin is is just like a Guilan from Dead Cells. Apart from that, if it makes sense, maybe we'll do it. There are already a bunch of stuff, like the Death Orb also comes from Dead Cells. Will we create more bounds between the universes? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, as Carduus was saying, the goal is not really to have like, oh look, this is a Dead Cells thing. It's more like, is it fun? If
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
and is it silly overall? If it's silly, then we'll add it.
Yeah, and Guillain is a pretty good example because the nature of Guillain fits perfectly in the world of Windblown. That's why we decided to put him in the game, but we really don't want to pollute Windblown with other game features. So yes, we need to. Comment tu dis faut doser en anglais, Yannick? We need to
be cautious.
Yes, we need to be cautious.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can't spoil everyone too soon.
Oh, you deactivated the vomit.
I did, yes. Yeah.
So the option is working, and I never
Sure
tested
is.
it.
Yeah, so for accessibility, if some people haven't seen it, we've got a no screen shake, which was a co-carnage mode, actually. When the guys jumped onto a stream with Co, he asked for no screen shake. the devs were kind enough to implement something like that. And we also saw a lot of reports about people wanting to not have a vomit option. It's just one of those where accessibility is important. So it was something that was we wanted to implement to allow more people to kind of enjoy the game. I know you can skip it, but this just removes that.
Yeah, and the funny thing with this mode is, at the first time it was just removing the VFX, and I tell to myself, no, it's not sufficient. We need to do an alternative animation. So now we have a system that permits us to make other animations when you revive, and I have a lot of idea for that. So maybe there will be more animation.
I personally want to transform the toggle into a slider. So if you put it far to the left, you have no vomit, but if you put it far to the right, you have more
A
vomit.
vomit slider.
Yeah, a vomit slider. Like the blood slider we have, by the way. I don't know if you tested it, but at 100%, it's quite cool.
You really need to test it right now.
Yeah.
What was the test, sorry?
Yes,
Yeah, go on the options.
And put the blood slider to the right.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
That's now in. Perfect.
That's
Okay.
Bidju's magic.
It's
And,
inspired by another game called Splatoon.
And inspiration.
We need to thank Raffles,
Oh, my word.
our VFX artist, and he did an amazing job for blood effects.
It's like a goo bomb is going off every time. Oh, that's crazy. It's interesting with that, you know. I think we've mentioned it a few times as well, where like maybe features that we weren't expecting or something that we toyed around with became a feature in the game. For example, the plus 100% size affix that you get on weapons that began as a bug, right?
Yeah, it was actually me trying to implement an animation on a weapon or whatever, I don't know, and I took a screenshot because it got gigantic. I shared that, and people were like, it has to be a feature. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, it might be complicated. And then Zeb just took the idea, like, hold my beer, and the next morning he implemented the affix. So it was really cool. Like the silly teamwork, I would say.
That's it. And I think some of the most fun kind of aspects and interactions can come from that as well. We've had a fair few interactions with our closed alpha testers that things turned into features based on feedback. So, you know, we want to continue that as development continues for the game itself.
Yeah, kudos to them for the hot towel on the head when you're at the onsen. By the way, that was coming from one of the alpha testers. I don't remember who, but I think we can find that information in the archived patch notes.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Cool. I think a big important question that we've had quite a lot, but it's not been one that we can kind of like easily answer, is will the game be getting released on multiple platforms?
I think so.
I think, but later. I think we will do that at the end of the early access process, because as you know, if we do that right now, the first thing is that on console we cannot do early access. So, and it's not very easy to have a fast process on consoles, because you need to be validated and it's pretty long. So we will need to wait the end of the early access, and after that we will think about porting the game on everything that can runs it.
Yeah, like Doom, the same.
Put it on a fridge, be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. If we can do it, we'll do it. Obviously. Also, Elian asked us about that. We also made the game in a way that could allow us to do crossplay.
I was about to ask that.
So yeah, it can be limited by I would say politics, not politics, but like the requirements from some platforms. So on some consoles, it's not doable. But technically speaking, we have the basis to do that. Yeah, if we wanna do it and it's possible, we should be able to do that in the end, because your save are already made in a way that would make them compatible. Also, so
Oh,
yeah.
damn.
And yes, we will see because there is some limitation from certain consoles that doesn't want us to share save between with other consoles. So we will see.
Awesome. Okay. So someone's asked a few times, so maybe we just address it. When are we adding an owl/bird character? It might be a good question overall of like, well, are there any ideas for the kind of next upcoming skins? Are there any kind of that we're potentially looking at without revealing anything?
The funny thing is there is already a bird character in the game, but it is deactivated. So it is possible. So, but I don't know when. And for the old one, we should ask to Gruni. She's the master of hero skins. But yes, there will be more skins soon.
Awesome. That's good. Someone's actually asked a question that kind of dates back a little bit now. But what does "come to me" mean? If you remember from was it from the demo at least? You could dash backwards and the island spelt out "come to me."
Yeah, that's a secret. That's the only topic we cannot tackle.
That's it. That's where we draw the line. That's all good. So, we may have touched on this a little bit, but the next question we've got is they wanted to ask if there were any plans to introduce a biome system similar to Dead Cells, where players could choose different paths and face various bosses. I also would like to ask if there are any plans of adding passive trinkets such as pets.
For you, Bidju.
All right, for me, thank you. Merci beaucoup.
De rien.
Yeah, we
Mamie.
ça fait plaisir, poto. We already have a first step towards that at the canon. You can choose between two biomes. That's like the minimum viable version of that idea, and yes, we would like to push toward that direction of adding more choices. I don't know if we'll have choices at every step. Maybe not during the early access, but having during your run a few really meaningful and impactful choice like that would make a lot of sense. It's definitely something we would like to have. Regarding the pet trinket, we had one. It's deactivated. I think it's still somewhere. For sure, we'll bring some of those back. I know that Zeb is kind of removing the dust from that code currently. So yeah, could be a thing. By the way, I saw a message about mouse aiming. I am working on that, like today, and we should test the implementation internally, like in the following days. So if that works, I think we'll release it as a minor patch as soon as possible for the people that are waiting for it. So yeah, so we are on it. You should be able to aim with your mouse cursor.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's been a heavily requested one, specifically from obviously the PC elite players who are adamant to stick to keyboard and mouse.
That said, I still strongly recommend playing with a gamepad, but we do respect that. And also there are some situations where you cannot have a gamepad, so yeah, it makes sense that it's working. To be a bit more precise about that, you will still be able to play fully with the keyboard if you want, like now with O and P as the as the main attack and secondary attack. And for the mouse, as long as you use the mouse, it will aim towards it. If you stop using it, then it will switch back to the current behavior. So that's the current implementation, and it should be coming quite soon.
And no dance pad. Sorry.
Dance. So my PlayStation 1 dance mats won't work on it.
Maybe
That's
it
a
will
shame.
come with mods later.
How about a Guitar Hero controller? No? Nah, probably not.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's the one that we're okay with. Cool. Okay. So another question we've got is, will the game get more levels as development continues, or is this the final planned length of the game? Like, we've kind of explained this, that no, we will be adding more.
Yeah.
And will there be more avatars for free or DLC? So maybe a question of, is there any kind of plans for paid DLC, or are we just kind of focusing on getting to 1.0 before we start looking at things like that?
Right now we are focusing on making the game. For now it's still on early access, so the game is not complete. There is a lot we want to add on it and to polish also. So regarding paid DLCs, we'll see later on. But that's quite for us it's a bit far in the future, because we see the amount of stuff we want to do during the early access. As we said previously, we said that it would last for at least a year. So yeah, paid DLCs, it's quite far in the future. First, we'll need to complete the early access, then to release on consoles if we are successful enough, and then we'll start talking about DLCs if they make sense. By the way, if they do not make sense, I don't think we'll make some. Always the same. We try avoid adding like I don't know, not meaningful stuff, like quite empty stuff to the game. We can.
Yeah, like it needs to make sense. We don't want to add things just for the sake of it, or to overinflate things. It needs to.
Yeah, and by the
relevant.
way, we are not. We don't wanna add like microtransaction. Like, so you won't have like skins you have to pay for, that kind of stuff. We don't do that.
Oh, interesting. I think that would have been a follow-up question. So excellent. Right, let me get rid of these. I think we've got Headbanger coming up again soon. See, Carduus is in the chat, so he's answering some.
Yes,
What was that? How many years of development?
I see a lot of things I want to answer, but it scrolls too fast.
Oh, I know. I do apologize, guys. If we're missing any questions, there's a lot coming through. What was that? How many years has Windblown in development? Did you say what? Over 1,000?
Yeah, sure. 1,000 years. I always wanted to make this game.
Before you were born.
We started from 2019. I think maybe a bit sooner for me, because I was drawing things with Gwen and Grooney, because we are always the first to do things on a game, because it's easy to draw things, easier than coding things. That works.
That's huge props to the programmers.
Yeah. I think 2019 was a year of game jam and experimentation. But though Carduus and the artists already made concept art that got used for that game, I think the game in its current shape and the kind of experience it has been really like a process. So it's not like we had like this super clear idea of what we wanted to do. We were more aiming at a feeling, a mood between players, more than exactly that game with that feature and that feature and that feature. So for example, yeah, go on.
Yeah, that's cool. You remind me the game jam process, because just before doing a top-down, we tried to do a third-person action platformer, which is a very ambitious. So, and but to be honest, making a online multiplayer game is way more ambitious. But we did it.
Yeah, true. It's true that I think the choice has been made to go on that project to reduce the risk and scope, but in the end, it was not the best bet regarding the scope. But I think we are all quite happy with.
Yes, this is very awesome to see all the people in the online lobbies waiting for a game. That was the cookie moment for me.
For me, it was like 2 days ago. My kid, who is 9 years old, wanted to play multiplayer, and I said yes. I never say yes to such a thing. And he was so happy, and he went into the thing. He created a lobby, and he was like, well, but when people will join it, then suddenly 2 people were there. And so he was going right into the vortex. And they got crushed, I think, at Red Village. And he came back, the guys, they say bye-bye. And he was like, oh, no, I'm alone. And then suddenly 2 other guys were there. And it's like this constant stream of people that can play together. And I was looking at him, and I was like, okay, that's cool. That's really, really nice that he can experience that.
Yeah, I bet that's quite a fulfilling moment when it's like a game you've been working on for so long, and then it kind of comes together, but then you see it in a completely different light when it's something like that. It's no longer definitely work. It's something, you're seeing manifested in reality.
Yeah, it's a dream come true.
Excellent. Cool. So I think one of the final questions we've got from the AMA question channel that we had was, will there be customization options for your leapers, like different outfits or maybe different skins for existing weapons?
So new skins for sure. Customizable skins, like changing the outfit of one species or another. I'm not sure, because that's quite complicated to do. Being able to customize the colors, for example, in co-op, that's something we would like to do, like what you would find in Among Us, for example, where you are able to, you have a set of colors, and once someone picked one, then you only have the other ones that are usable. So yeah, such things could be done, and we had other ideas, like being able to customize the puke color. That will obviously be deactivated for the people that don't want vomit. We're talking about maybe, I don't know, changing the color of the trail of your dash, or there are a lot of things we can customize. But those for now are still only ideas. There is nothing like set in stone regarding that. Maybe Carduus, you had other things in your mind?
Yeah. I just wanted to say that the most important for you to know is that we are not a lot of people in Motion Twin. So we are focusing on things that I think if we need to choose between making a full character editor or making a lot of skins, of new original skins, we will go for original skins, because it's just funnier for us to do. And I think it's better for players to have a lot of weird creatures to play.
Yeah, to be clear, not a lot of people means 8 people internally, and
Small team.
And 4 to 5 freelancers that do work also with us. So the most people that are working on the game at one point, it's like 13 people. So yeah, it's not a lot. really not a lot.
We need to make choices, because we cannot compete with the huge team like Hades or Hyper Light Breaker. And yes, we really need to choose wisely what we want to do.
Yeah, and we need to sleep sometimes, eventually.
No, it's just game dev all day, every day.
I just saw a question of how big was the Dead Cells team. It was maybe the same number.
It was the same,
More or less.
minus the freelancers, because there were
Yes,
no
yes.
freelancers back in that day, I think.
Yes, this game is way harder to do than Dead Cells.
To answer Haya, so it's in Motion Twin there are only game devs, so no one is like fully doing HR or doing producing or whatever. So either you are an artist, either you're a programmer / designer or engine programmer, but everyone works on the game. By working on the game, I mean creates content for the game. Obviously, producers are useful and all those kind of jobs are, but as we are small, we can avoid having such management, I would say, positions. So yeah, so everyone is working on the game, but yeah, it's only 8 people internally.
Yeah, small team, very small team for kind of the achievement
No,
that we've managed.
That does not include Night.
Nope.
Yeah, when we say game dev, it's people that create the game. Night is important though, but it's not a game dev.
This is true. This is true. I am the social media and the community guy. So anything you see on social media will be me, and obviously all these little events that we hold in Discord and externally. That'll be me on the distribution side of things. Doing a lot better in this run, but I'm getting battered now.
Yeah, maybe heal.
Yeah.
Stay away from fire.
Maybe use the
I mean, this is
magic
cheating.
fish.
I might have to, you know.
Lava
You
hurt.
have to. And you know that you can exploit it. Yeah, like that. Exactly. Perfect.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, he was a little too spicy for me.
There is an interesting question about Kickstarter. Why we did not a Kickstarter? I think Kickstarter is a way to make some noise about your game, but yes, it is very hard to do a Kickstarter because you need to prepare a lot of things, rewards and so on, and it was just faster just to do the game directly. So
Yeah. We well, not we, but Scorpion Masqué did one for the board game of Dead Cells. Because they needed to check if it was viable, such a project, and also because it was like a new way of playing the Dead Cells universe, was not a video game. So yeah, they had to bulletproof and to build up a community. While for Windblown, this is still a video game. This is still a roguelite. So yeah, when you look at the amount of extra work that it requires, and it was not mandatory. Also, it's also a thing to say is that we were lucky enough to have Dead Cells backing that project for a few years, so we could really focus on the development.
Yeah, I am finding my groove here.
Yeah,
He says.
more or less.
There we go. Cool.
and
Cool. So, yep. Go on.
yeah, sorry, may I have just a few words about what's coming next soon?
It's
And
exactly what I was going to ask.
Just a hint, we really want to put some rewards in the difficulty mode, because right now you have nothing instead of challenge or unlocking the next difficulty mode. So I'm right now working on those rewards, just for you to know.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. Right now the focus is that the sudden death update, or I would say even a revamp. Actually, looking at how it goes, it's like quite different in the end. The mouse aiming stuff. I saw a lot of people talking about the guinea pig. Sadly, the guinea pig is long gone. It will not bring it back, but will bring new other stuff that you may like. So not dodging that one, but yeah, sorry, it was for the people that played before the early access. That said, same will go with the intern skin. It's still there for only 2 days. Maybe we will do such things because it's just fun to do. And maybe we'll have something that is quite close to it in the future, and so people will be happy. But I don't think we can please everyone on that side, sadly. Apart from that, on the stuff that we are doing right now, so we are already working on new weapons, already working on new trinkets. As we said earlier, we are starting to talk about the next biome. So that's quite a long thing, by the way, because maybe you do not realize the scales of stuff, but a biome is like the biggest thing we can create in that game, because a biome is like an environment with always a special rule or a little gimmick to it, but also all its bestiary, and we tend to not reuse that much stuff in between biomes. Maybe it's something we'll do, by the way. We'll see. If it makes sense, we'll do it. If not, no. But it's also the rewards that comes with it. So rewards meaning weapons, trinkets, and so on. So gifts. Hopefully adding some magi fishes also. So yeah, so that's quite a lot. So that will take a few months for sure. But that's something we are starting currently. And apart from that, we are still doing like the super important bug fix. So we'll not wait for the next content update to fix the main issues if we can. Sometimes, by the way, some fixes require to change a lot of stuff, and at the end it's so much changes that it makes the game unstable, so we have to wait for the next version. So far I don't think we have such issues, but yeah, so a lot of topics are currently going on.
And we may be, I cannot promise, we may put an alpha test branch for everyone, because we need to test feature before pushing it for everybody. So even if the content will take some time, you will be able to access it, to test it, but I don't know when exactly.
If you are valiant enough.
It will be very like Dead Cells process for DLCs when you have a branch to test things before it is live.
Knight is in the focus biome, so I cannot talk anymore.
Can't
Because
say
it
a
needs to be
single word. I'm still rocking level 1 weapons at this point, but
Actually, we did
What?
a lot of balancing on this biome for the next update, because we realized that enemies are very easily stunned or frozen, and
Overwhelmed.
now it is a bit harder.
Yeah. By the way, a subject we haven't talked about is multiplayer balancing. We are still working on that. Also, we did a few, well, quite a lot actually, of changes in the. Oh, sorry for that.
No!
So we did a few
what
changes in the first patches, but we are still working on that. And obviously, that will be a subject that will go, I think, forever. Balancing is a subject that never closes on any game. But yeah, right now it feels to us that the game is a bit too easy in multiplayer. It shouldn't be that easy.
We have some stats. We
Yeah,
know
we have some stats.
it's way too easy in multiplayer.
Yeah.
Even with the sudden death mechanics.
Yeah.
Speaking of multiplayer, this was just hopefully a final question because we are coming towards the end. Someone asked if we can. Is there any plans for more multiplayer interactions? Now that could just obviously be like social interactions, things that we can do with our friends or other players, but maybe something combat orientated. Like, can you do synced up special attacks? Obviously, you can crystallize kind of together, but are there any development plans looked into for that?
So combat-wise, there is like no core feature I'm thinking of that we haven't tested and like just denied because it was not working. So by the way, there is no like amazing idea that we just are waiting to add on that part just to tease you. The magic fishes are fought for that. Those are like abilities that can be used by several people. Right now, there are only 3 in the game. We'd like to add more. So on that combat part, there's that. Obviously, if we add new elements, status, that should push always towards cooperation. So yeah, we approach the cooperation more in like a organic way, I would say, rather than this is the cooperative feature. So there is no feature that is like fully cooperative, apart from the sudden death, by the way, because it makes sense, because you need to handle the death of another player. But yeah, every feature has to work both in single and multiplayer. So that also explained a bit of the length of development for that game. So yeah, we'll continue working on that, but I would like to avoid adding like a multiplayer button somewhere in the combat. That would feel a bit artificial. That said, if people have ideas, feel free to share them. We already implemented some of the ideas of the players, and they are like really great.
Yeah.
But on the multiplayer, right now we are more focusing on for example, issues with the UX. Like for example, the emojis, you cannot use them when you're in your UI, or you cannot use the text chat when you're inside the UI. So that sounds like a detail, but it prevents people that are not using voice chat to communicate between each other in moments where you should be able to communicate, because you're supposed to theorycraft. you create your build together at that moment, so that's super important. So that is lacking. And in the a bit more long run, there is this idea of merging a bit more the single player experience and the multiplayer experience. Being able to join player in the middle of a run and vice versa. That's something we would really love to do. We have cut the development on that before early access because it was getting a bit costly. But that definitely something we would like to push for. It's this feeling of doing a little bit of travel together. That's something we think is quite strong mood-wise.
Awesome. Sounds good. I may have just shown something. I got this over here, and chat went wild, so I'm going to pretend that wasn't a thing.
I have
Cool.
a question for you, Bidju, actually. Do
It's a
we... It was in the chat. I'm just reporting this.
Okay.
Someone asked if there is a way to fight Dilution in Windblown soon.
We'll add that for sure. I think, fun fact, I think it's one of the first topic we talked about when I joined Motion Twin. I remember talking about that with you, Thomas, and also Looping.
Yes, just to be clear, Dilution is that when you are unlocking a new item, it make the other item drop rate going lower. So we will try to find answers to that.
Yeah. So that's always a real issue in roguelites where you unlock abilities. So yes, we'll need to add something to tackle that. We have thought about that like a lot, but maybe it was too early. That's why we postponed the thing, because at one moment we were like, okay, but let's start creating content and then we'll see. Yes, that's something we'll work on. I don't know if it will be part of the first patch or the second one, but it's not something that will arrive at the end of the early access, obviously, especially because we will be adding content quite soon. So yeah, maybe it will be iterative. Most of the time it works like that. So maybe it will just be like a ban system, or you can ban things from your roster or something like that. We'll see. point is that when we were talking about that, we haven't found the perfect solution. Every solution came with some meh aspect to them, I would say. So I think we'll start with something, the simplest thing, and we'll see how it goes, and we'll iterate with you guys. Yep.
Cool. Right. Well, we've essentially come to the end. We've run over a little bit. We only wanted to do about an hour or so. So we'll call it there, guys. We want to thank you all for jumping in and taking part. We'll hopefully do some more of these in the future because there's a lot of questions coming through, and we do our best to answer them, but limited time. Got a lot of work to kind of get onto as we head towards 1.0. I've recorded the AMA that we've got today, so I'll hopefully try and put together some sort of either a Steam post with the questions answered, so in case anyone missed it, they can look back and check that. If it makes sense for a VOD, I can try that. So yeah, we'll look into a few ways to make sure that more people can gain access to the content. But yeah, I just want to say thank you to chat. Thank you to Carduus and Bidju for taking time out of their busy schedules to join us. And yeah, we will see you next time.
Yes,
Merci
thank
beaucoup.
you all. Merci la famille.
Au revoir. Bye bye.